Once upon a time, there was an old shoemaker who was very good, but very poor. No matter how hard he worked, he just couldn't earn enough to buy food and clothing for his wife and himself. One night, while sitting at his workbench, he looked at his last piece of leather and said to himself,
I'm tired and sleepy, how my poor back aches. I think I'll stop working until the day breaks. I'll cut out this last piece of leather to use for stitching and sewing a new pair of shoes.
and as soon as he finished, he went slowly upstairs to bed. Next morning, he awoke very early, for he had work to do. As he was about to sit down at his workbench, he saw the most beautiful pair of shoes he had ever seen. But before he had time to think about this strange good fortune, the door to his shop opened, and in walked a man saying,
Good morning, Mr. Shoemaker. I hope my shoes are ready, as you promised.
And the shoemaker replied,
Yes, indeed they are.
How brightly they shine.
said the customer.
Twice the price, I'm very glad to pay. Twice the price for shoes so nice, I now bid you good day.
The shoemaker took the money and bought enough leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. That night, he cut them out to be sewn together in the morning. Then he went slowly upstairs to bed. The next morning, he awoke even earlier than he had the day before, eager to finish the shoes. And what do you think? Yes, indeed, there they were, 2 shining bright pairs of handsomely stitched shoes. Just as he was about to call his wife, the door opened, and in walked 2 lady customers. They were twin sisters, you know.
Good morning, Mr. Shoemaker. We'd like to see some shoes. We heard about the other pair. We'd like some shoes to choose.
And when the shoemaker showed them the shoes, they clapped their hands with glee. And then they sang in harmony,
Twice the price, we're very glad to pay. Twice the price for shoes so nice, we now bid you good day.
They left enough money to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. This went on and on until one night, just a few days before Christmas, the shoemaker said to his wife,
We have been very lucky this year. People have paid me twice the price for their shoes because they were so pleased with them. And as only you and I know, I really did not make them.
You're right, my dear.
said the shoemaker's wife.
We've been blessed with good fortune, indeed.
I think,
Said the shoemaker.
that we ought to sit up tonight and watch to find out who comes and sews the shoes for us.
And his wife replied,
That's a very good idea.
So that night, they left a small candle burning in the shop and hid behind the curtains to watch. Just as the clock struck 2, in danced 2 little elves. They hopped up on the workbench. One little elf picked up the hammer and nails, and the other a needle and thread. They both picked up the pieces of leather which the old shoemaker had left. Then they began to work. And as they worked, they sang,
He's me, I'm he. We're just the 2 of us. I stitch and sew the whole night through. I hammer all the nails in. We have a lot of work to do, which we have never failed in. He's me, I'm he. We're just the 2 of us.
and before very long, their work was finished and they hurried away. The next morning, the shoemaker said to his wife,
What wonderful little elves they are, and how quickly they finished the shoes.
and his wife replied,
Yes, but I'm very unhappy
Why, my dear wife?
asked the shoemaker.
because they have no clothes to keep them warm. I'm going to make them each a shirt and pants and a pretty red coat with hat to match to keep them warm.
And I will make them each a little pair of red shoes to match the coat and hat.
Well, the night that the little clothes and little shoes were finished, the shoemaker and his wife set them out on the workbench instead of the usual pieces of leather. Then they hid behind the curtains to see what the little elves would do. Sure enough, just as the clock struck 2, In danced the two little elves. Up they hopped on the workbench, and when they saw the clothes and shoes, they shouted and laughed with delight.
He's me. I'm he. We're just the two of us. Our shirts and coats we'll button up. We'll wear our shoes and pants. There's no more work to finish up. So round and round we'll dance. He's me. I'm he. We're just the two of us. Us.
And they sang and danced right out of the house and over the snow and far away. The shoemaker and his wife never saw them again. But from that time on, the shoemaker and his wife lived happily ever after.